明凯，你说要把我们整得明明白白，那你就去搞司马吧，别来搞我。
要抓去抓上，别来抓我。
Please don't gank me. Just stay away from my lane.
That's
Get back!
Well,
Stay away.
Also incredibly relevant because Clearlove's actually coming in.
Yeah, exactly. Clearlove will be subbing in over Haro right now, and to be honest, it seems like they just went nuclear. They just like hit the red button. It's just like we lost one game. Just bring him in, bring in the king, and get Clearlove to just push us over that finish line.
Yeah, it was honestly just a question of, is Haro going to stay even after the first loss? And it ultimately came down to they think that Clearlove is the better, or at least they're going to at least challenge Haro in those instances. So I think it's a good time to see where he's at currently.
It might also be a specific blue side strategy. We'll get confirmation what side EDG are on, but it could also mean that it's not just Haro losing and like, DEFCON 5, get Clearlove in here, we can't, take another chance on Haro. It could also just be that they're swapping sides and maybe they have a specific blue side. Never mind, RW's blue. DEFCON 5, get him out of there, boys.
I will say though, being on red side means that you don't necessarily see Sejuani first pick on blue side, so he might be able to get the marquee pick for himself on red.
Sure. Are we expecting to go back to the classic, like the Sejuanis, even like the Rek'Sais coming out from Clearlove in terms of a priority, right? I mean, he's even named off of that, one of his monikers. So are we expecting this priority pick on the red side now for EDG?
I mean, Sejuani is always going to be a pivotal pick. It might even mean that Rogue Warriors have to consider banning it away from Clearlove because it is one of his signatures, or maybe it's because Flawless was so pivotal on the Kha'Zix. Like, it's weird because Kha'Zix is in a very niche spot, but Clearlove is also very well known for his Kha'Zix pick.
And honestly, mid lane jungle synergy just skyrockets when Clearlove comes out into the field because he's been with Scout for so long. So I wonder if Ryze is going to be in favor of Scout if he picks up the Ryze, and if he tries to go mid lane and starts working around that mid lane.
You're saying it has less to do with Haro and more to do with Scout?
Yeah, very well could be.
So right now, what am I expecting out of EDG? Now that Clearlove comes in, we've heard it time and time again, like he's a big voice on the team, and before it's usually only Mako making those shots. So are we going to see a major difference in Clearlove and how the team moves around him, what their early game and mid game looks like?
He just brings these intangibles. We often talk about, or at least I often equate him to someone like Hai. You can't really see visibly what he's doing on the map, but he does make a big difference in Edward Gaming and how they move around because he does have that synergy, as Raz is talking about, with Scout, with someone like Mako. So it's adding to that shot calling. It's not necessarily a champion pool thing or a difference because Haro and Clearlove play pretty much exactly the same champions, but it is a very different style.
And on top of that, Haro hasn't been on this massive a stage. Sure, it's just Hangzhou, but the pressure of playoff time is something that is just not there for him. So put in Clearlove, who has international experience, who just has a wealth of experience on stage. So it's going to be nice to see him coming back onto the lineup. You already see him smiling, getting ready for this one.
So where do Rogue Warriors look now? Because I think before it was very clear, like, look at the jungle, you know that Flawless is going to outclass Haro, but now that's been somewhat shored up by bringing in Clearlove. So do you look towards the solo lanes now? You look towards the bottom lane, try and get that rolling?
I think the plan should still be to try to unlock Doinby, or at least keep Scout locked down, because Scout is usually the pivot point of going bottom for Edward Gaming. But I also think that they need to consider something like an Ornn or a Shin that provides a lot of safety towards the bot lane. Even maybe a Gangplank and having the Gangplank ultimate, because with Clearlove, Edward Gaming are going bottom at 8 minutes exactly.
And this is why I think this game here is going to be the most combative early game we're going to have this series, because early points of the series, we were seeing Edward Gaming going for it consistently and Rogue Warriors wanting to just scale out. This was the last game that we saw Rogue Warriors just decide that they were going to have such a heavy early game priority. And if you're EDG going to the back, you're thinking we need to actually shore some of that up at the very least in our mid lane. So going into game 4, I wonder what draft is going to give for us, because I don't expect either team to just have 3 winning lanes like that once again. So I think that mid lane is going to be a major priority because it's the most important part of the map. So if we get to see a 2v2 coming out of Clearlove and Scout, if they get control of that one with Sejuani and Ryze and make Doinby have a very difficult time as he did in game 1, then suddenly you have to be really scared if you're SMLZ, because that pressure is going to be piling down.
Is that true of both teams? You're looking towards that mid lane first, then the jungle, then the rest of the composition to come together so you can facilitate the bottom lane?
I think with Rogue Warriors, it's mid then jungle, but with Edward Gaming, it's jungle then mid, personally.
Just depends on the picks, because you are right, because a lot of what Rogue Warriors can start out with is going to be the carry champions in the jungle position. Kha'Zix is something that he was comfortable in the last game, has been comfortable in the last split with, or at least this split with. So he can just go back towards that one, and it's going to be a clear love trying to get the ganks across because he's still a facilitator.
For me, it's simply because Edward Gaming carry through their bot lane, so it's the jungle is the priority there because the mid lane is going to follow jungle into bot, and it's more about the jungler having to have safety to create that safety net, vision control, so bot lane can be dominant, whereas Rogue Warriors, their bot lane often loses or sacks the lane, and so it's about the mid lane unlocking the jungler so they can go down there and save the sack bot lane.
Yeah, of course, and if you're looking towards Doinby as well to be unlocked because we've seen what he can do when he gets into those early skirmishes. He's able to just blast people apart. We see the mechanics come out of him time and time again, so I'm excited to see if they can actually get him out of the mid lane 2 versus 2, but it seems so much harder now that Clearlove is in the lineup.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm just going to be, as a takeaway, I just don't want to see Jhin and Rakan there. So even though we were talking so much heavily about the mid lane, sure, that's great, that's fantastic. But when we go into the bottom lane, I want to see something that is contested.
All right, that's enough from us. For now, we are going to send it back to the casters for game number 4 and the champion select. Take away, Dom.
I will take it away. Rogue Warriors versus Edward Gaming. Game 4 now upon us, and Clearlove. I will give you a reason to fear me. I will give you a reason to respect the king. He's going to be taking Trundle in this still match point for Edward Gaming. We're seeing the Varus priority for iBoy, so already some change-ups as Alistar was prioritized by Killer.
That's right. Clearlove comes in, gets King of the Trolls as well. Why not? Rogue Warriors still going to be on the blue side. Still with a high priority certain champions. The Alistar is the one that comes to mind. But of course, EDG, they've recognized what happened in that last game. They don't want to give the duo of Alistar and Varus over. They know just how strong it is. They've won with it. So instead, they pick up the Varus and one more time prioritize the Trundle away from Flawless. This does leave open the Kha'Zix, of course, as the response to that. But they also get the Caitlyn Rogue Warriors. That is a very important pick for them in dealing damage as a siege composition this time around. And I think that actually does increase the priority on champions like Ryze one more time.
Yeah, that Ryze, though, going to go through, and it's banned. Got to say something, and then it's stricken away. Scout perhaps returning to this Swain that he now locks into the mid lane. And if we're following the pattern of ban away Doinby after you see what's left, we're kind of expecting that Cassiopeia to go. But Doinby's always been the player who has a champion ocean. He can play anything that fits the situation. One thing we do have to bring up, though, Galio is open.
Yeah, I think Galio may well be the other ban. I don't think the Cassiopeia is as relevant for the composition. The Cassiopeia does do a lot of work in protecting a Caitlyn and is definitely a valid option to ban. And of course, that is the one that they go towards. But what is missing from Rogue Warriors would be the follow-up to some kind of engage right now. That could be shored up through the top lane champion of choice, but Galio also allows you to do that through the middle lane. I think on the side of EDG, having the Swain already locked in, they may be happy to play against that Galio, or the likes of course, and just try and win that lane a little bit stronger. Galio does have a lot of good push, but he runs out of mana and he can't roam as successfully.
We'll see what the pick is going to be. Of course, EDG want to save counter, but whoa, you can hear the crowd. Mako locking in Thresh. So often we say signature champions, but every once in a while you get a champion that is synonymous with a player. For Mako, this is it.
I mean, to be fair, you look at Rogue Warriors in response, Galio should be locked in, or I at least would assume so. And then Ornn is still there, still available. Sion is still a possibility, of course, on the opposite side. And that whole team composition, once completed, I think it should be Ornn personally, but Sion still works. Makes them very well rounded with a front line. They've got engaged now from decent range as well. They've got flanks that are always a possibility. I think that's actually, this is one of those few moments where I would almost like a Hex Flash from the support of Rogue Warriors to give them something extra, constant threat. EDG on the opposite side. They've got the Thresh. They've got a Trundle. It's a risky composition. It's got a decent amount of pick. If they get going, if they get rolling, it's super powerful. But getting there is no easy feat against the comp that Rogue Warriors have got.
Yeah, well, if anyone's going to do it, it's got to be Clearlove, one of the most veteran players in the entire LPL right now. He has been here since the beginning. He was the betrayer from WE, and still he persists with this organization. So often we look at their motto, prove them wrong with results. Clearlove's return shows that they are certainly trying to chase them down now.
Certainly the case. Of course, a big mental reset for all of EDG as well. Losing game one doesn't matter when you're captain. Of course, Mako now being the captain, but your old captain of Clearlove comes in smiling, happy, able to set them all up to feel good about it. You know, 0-1 doesn't matter if that's the current state. And of course, they're even 2-1, so they're still one game away from winning, locking in their place in Chengdu in the finals against RNG.
And we do have to commend Rogue Warriors for pulling Clearlove out of hiding. You don't just get to face the final boss right away.
The real raid boss is here now.
This is the real challenge. If Rogue Warriors can take this Game 4 and bring us to a Game 5, it shows that they can compete against the most dominant team in LPL history. That said, they've got one heck of a mountain to climb, Rusty.
They certainly do. It is very important that they come into this game with momentum, though. They're able to continue to push forwards and step in strides to come up against the mountain of Clearlove and the rest of EDG, who still look super dangerous with Haro in those first 2 games, and now coming into the 4th, they've got the capabilities to make it work once again. But still, when you go through that draft, you see what all the players are getting on your screens. It does feel like there's a few takeaways more than just compositions locked in. I think Thresh is the big wild card that Mako is very good at playing, but he has to individually shine here, individually perform, or EDG may just fall to the wayside in Game 4.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him step up on that Alistair early on in this series. This time around, he won't be getting it in Game 3 or Game 4, so instead he goes straight to the source champion of that Thresh. And in that same vein, we're seeing some huge champions from EDG all across the way to try and follow that momentum and close this series out. All it takes is one Nexus explosion before EDG advance to the grand finals in Chengdu, whereas Rogue Warriors on the other side trying to bring it back to a Game 5.
Yeah, all right. Everyone gets 3. That's like 6. But we are here onto the rift. A little slugger this time. Clearlove's going to change up the skins as well, and it's not going to be an invade compared to the last game. Everything will be just that little bit more slow, which means we do get a chance to talk about the stakes with these team compositions specifically. Rogue Warriors is the place that you'll have to look first. Going for a siege type of composition, so they want to get those early turrets down. Break the bottom lane is usually the first step for any Caitlyn composition, and bring her elsewhere on the map. Completely unlocks yourself to be very powerful. And with a Galio and a Sion, even an Alistair, they can dive. And they will actively dive if they ever get a lead. So that's what you look at with Rogue Warriors. Actually pretty basic in principle. Speaking of,
auto attack as Mako steps into the brush. Now that was the Peacemaker actually missing, and iBoy will be knocked back as SMLZ gets a good headshot. There is no chill between these bottom lanes right now. Another Flay to trade it back. Killua at 300 health. And finally, the minions crash. Both junglers starting on that top half of the map, so we are expecting some action down here from those junglers soon.
Heavy aggression and early aggression as well from both respective bottom lane 2v2. Thresh with the Flay, of course, wants to trade against an Alistair at level 1, but the way that Killua played it was very coy of, do I have the Pulverize? Am I about to CC you down with a Caitlyn? Caitlyn didn't use Q either, so they didn't actually know what the starting spells were, and Pulverize into a Caitlyn trap may have won it. So all the respect was paid. But EDG still come out with a better trade, and they actually do unlock their jungler in Trundle to step up here. However, he's about to find a Kha'Zix.
Look at this, Flawless at half health. Red buff has been started. It's inside, and Clearlove catches up. That's the chomp. Auto attack. Flash and Blast Cone will get Flawless to safety, but the pig farmer showing he's back and he means business.
Some golf claps for Clearlove as well. He leashes the red buff to the bush, so he should be able to secure this one. No contest available from the side of Rogue Warriors. Great decision making, knowing that Flawless was about to see the red buff missing and assume he was going to be in the bush doing it at that moment. So instead of even getting the chance for a ward to be placed, sprints at him, chunks him out, makes him flash away. They get a summon a spell away from the jungler of Rogue Warriors.
And already Clearlove showing that he absolutely should be feared as he makes his way back. This is his second set of 2018, only showing up at the very last possible moment for EDG in Week 10. And now he's back here in finals, the raid boss in full form. That said, Flawless is trying to take what he can on the other side of the map. He knows that those Raptors are up, but already look at that. Scout is on the way to protect them for him.
Yeah, that poor Kha'Zix doesn't really want to do Raptors either way, so he's going to go over to the Krugs, and you can see the way Scout has now positioned himself. He could even use that Scrying Orb if he wanted to find him at the Krugs, but they have no idea where Flawless is. They know he's not at Raptors. There's only one camp on the map that he could be at, and that is Krugs on either side of the respective map. So that's where EDG's decision-making can now be influenced. And step one is, well, we're pushed in bottom lane, so it doesn't matter too much. But we're pushed top, so we need to get vision down. We may be at risk of being ganked.
We'll see how that's going to work out, though, as Clearlove, as you can see on your screen, he has never missed an LPL semifinal. Made finals 6 times, and of those 6 times, has won 5 titles. He is the winningest player.
The most winningest in all of the LPL. He's got a fantastic playoffs record. He's the domestic king.
Yeah, this is the guy. If ever there's somebody that you need to beat, it's
bottom.
Clearlove. Flash play onto SMLZ. He drops a trap in order to escape the chase. Pillar of Filth. Clearlove chases SMLZ back. Flawless is trying to get there, but it's too little, too late. Doinby, flash for the taunt onto 2, plus the Winds of War, and Clearlove goes down. Doinby with 1. Visions of Empire as Scout is trying to catch up, but it's a double kill to Doinby. Mako walks it off. He's knocked up, locked up, and sent back to the graveyard. A kill for Flawless.
And Scout definitely too late. He's actually just hit a damage control and try and push away the minions, maybe get the farm before it crashes. Almost a triple for Doinby. And you cannot disrespect the teleports out of a Rogue Warriors roster. Ever. You will be made to pay for it. The flashes forwards, the aggression from EDG, trying to get not just 1 kill onto Kahlua, but 2 onto SMLZ. They are made to pay for this. The flash kicks it off. Kahlua does play this one out excellently, ensuring that the hooks hit him, ensuring that there is no opportunity for SMLZ to die. And note that everything was used to go forwards here. And Doinby, he's in. There is no position from here that is going to save Clearlove's life. iBoy should be running as best he can, but look how far in they went. iBoy flashed to get the kill in the first place. So Rogue Warriors bounce back.
Killua with the repositioning of Mako saying, all right, you've got some fancy footwork, but so do I. I might be a rookie, but I've got some pretty cool things to show you as well. Resetting those kills back. 600 gold lead now for Rogue Warriors off the start of that play. Only 1 assist onto SMLZ, but this time it's Doinby. 2-0-1. Flawless. 1-0-2. They've got the gold on Rogue Warriors. Can they buy enough time for SMLZ to get back into this game?
And now you will note that there is a teleport for Scout in the mid lane now, but he has unsealed spellbook. So he actually switched from barrier to teleport after he recalled in the bottom lane before. Perhaps if he had it earlier, he could have contributed to the fight, but he chose barrier for the laning phase. This is what happens when you pick the Swain into the Galio, and you're making a conscious decision to not get ganked as a result of Clearlove being in and invading the jungle instead.
Yeah.
All of this actually mounts into a lead for Rogue Warriors, specifically through that middle laner, and now the teleport is just to get him back to lane. It's a bit of a what-if situation, but what if he had that teleport? Would things be different?
Yeah. What if we could have seen Ray down there, or perhaps even Mouse to upset it even more? Still, though, we saw another invade from Clearlove in the meanwhile, taking the Raptors again away from Flawless. He's still a level ahead of Clearlove because of that kill experience that he's been able to pick up. And now he's taking Krugs on the bottom half of the map. He's got Mobies with Predator, along with that challenging Smite. Flawless means business. And not even Clearlove knows where he is right now.
The Predator cards, it's the Flawless special, honestly. It's one of the best things you'll see from any jungler in a competitive game once he ticks to level 6 right now. This is the long-term investment from him going for those Mobies, because when he ticks over to 6, he can get access to literally any lane on Summoner's Rift and gank that effectively just from the ultimate being evolved. And that's something that you expect from a lot of Kha'Zix players in general, but this is a special breed of Kha'Zix ganking.
Flawless, is he going to take the blue buff here? He does. It doesn't quite get him to level 6, but it just shows how much they're investing in this Kha'Zix early game. Red buff is going to be spawning next. You already see Clearlove is on the way, and there's a control ward behind the pit. I believe that should have just spotted that ward. They know what's happening now. iBoy and Mako have the push in bottom lane.
It's that they want to give him 6 in the jungle. Gets the blue buff, wants the red buff. Clearlove, fully aware of that fact, however, does press forwards. And this could be a 2v2. Remember, the Galio has got access with the ultimate at any moment.
Yeah, Scout is there as well. Clearlove, he's going to target Flawless, and that's Smite already. Clearlove just walks up, takes it, and walks away. No risk for a fight.
Yeah, bullies him out. It does come down to a Smite battle, but Clearlove having access to the auto attacks and the chomp will secure that for himself. And also note the Predator was just used by Flawless to try and scout out the opponents. Does find them. They know these are the Raptors. The rest of the Rogue Warriors roster were unable to continue to rotate. They'd already put resources towards it. Now they go back bottom lane to push it out instead. And from this point, where Clearlove is backing away, Rogue Warriors have an opportunity to press forwards, but it is too late.
A very precarious situation for Edward Gaming with that invade, but they're able to pay it off. getting level 6 for Clearlove, denying the red buff and again denying the Raptors. Flawless will finally tick over to 6 as he looks to be heading towards that bottom half of the map, but Clearlove is at the Dragon.
Is the go as well. If they want to go for the Drake, they can EDG. They're just playing back now defensively in the bottom lane 2v2. Flawless has vision.
Yeah, they have vision all across the map. They can see almost everything that's going on. Clearlove, ooh, not going to take any hits from Flawless. Decides to let him go as they clear out some of these wards. EDG invested a lot for what could have been a Dragon take, but decide not to risk it on another botched fight.
Yeah, they'll just get the blue buff and disengage. Why are words so hard right
Yeah.
now? I think one extra thing we should mention as well, Flawless is currently hovering in the bottom lane, is one of the other reasons why Moby's Kha'Zix with Predator in particular is so powerful. And that's because you don't need to dash at the start of any fights or any engages. The fact that you can stand next to somebody, get your passive off as well and slow them down, you can then save the jump for an outplay. And one thing you will see from Flawless, he does this quite predictably actually, and very consistently, is he'll go invisible up to the target, and if he feels like he's at risk of dying, he'll chunk them and sprint away and just jump back to safety, knowing full well that, of course, with the rest of the team that he has, SMLZ and Doinby will do the rest of the work. If that carry that he just chunked out has to kite backwards, there's no one to hit because he's already disengaged.
Look at how EDG have changed to adapt to that, though. Clearlove has been sitting backstage watching the spectates, watching the game live, so he could have seen Flawless's pathing as he maneuvered around the map, and the vision has completely changed. 2 control wards on that bottom half of the map to spot out Flawless, another control ward to look for Doinby's roams and try to lock down the mid-jungle of Rogue Warriors.
Yeah.
They failed once and paid a huge price for it, but already EDG seem to have learned their lesson.
And still 2 in the inventory as well for EDG. We're looking at top lane right now, and you don't often want to look at this lane, but this is one of the first moments where Mouse feels like he's going dead even against his respective opponent in just the 1v1 laning, where Ray in this exact matchup had him handled in the last. So the tides are starting to shift a little bit here. Clearlove's mid.
Certainly is. Shield of Durand, actually. Going to pop Scout as Never Move will trade in. Doinby still doing some damage, though. Doesn't have a lot of AP. Demonic Ascension, but Scout follows up. Here comes Mouse trying to get to the rescue. That's the hero's entrance in order to escape, but he goes right back to Clearlove. Stand United, plus a chomp and a Shadow Dash. Another kill. Scout looking for Flawless on the far side, forces him to flash away.
There was an attempt to try and trade in the end. Doinby does find himself in a very awkward predicament, not trying to die to Trundle, but next to him accidentally just to get out alive away from Scout. As Scout flashes forwards, of course, on his Swain, EDG, they get the kills, and they get out alive. The Shen, once again, always going to be a big deal, helps to secure kills, and wasn't even used on Scout in this instance. Didn't need it.
It was the mid-jungle top lane for EDG that actually came up with that victory. Though that will mean Rogue Warriors finally get control of their red side jungle. But still, look at the wards. While that was going on, Mako was able to sneak in and get a ward on the red buff, get a ward on the Krug camp. It's just such intelligent, predictive play from Edward Gaming to track Flawless nonstop.
It's just placing vision where the enemy team is not, knowing that that's where they're going to be next. Mountain Drake is currently available still, so that's a place that they will be putting attention towards. Both teams. Kha'Zix also very good at taking it down with isolated damage, so they will be able to go towards that one and sneak it if no one has vision at any moment. So it's good movements once again from Mako, as you mentioned, to place those wards down. It's also about enabling them to pressure in the 2v2. You can see the itemization spikes that iBoy has got. The Guinzu's Rage Blade being rushed.
Yeah.
So they are finding opportunities perhaps to push in the 2v2. Flawless, though, has circumvented all vision and is actually looking. There was a world where you want to get hit by that hook if Flawless was ready.
Now he's finally going to be spotted out by these wards from EDG. They're still controlling this bottom side of the map. They tried that Mountain Dragon once. Now they could be looking to try it again. As you said, the Guinzu's Rush opens up that possibility. Teleport ready for Ray and Mouse should a fight break out.
Yeah, no Shen ultimate, but the teleport, as you mentioned, is available. And the Mountain Drake is going to be kicked off too. They'll know full well if there's vision in this area because they have completely circled it with wards around the red buff. And they know that Rogue Warriors have not been able to step up and place a single piece of vision into the pit. So they do secure themselves the Mountain Drake, completely uninhibited by the Rogue Warriors roster, who are just trying to find opportunities and just get a red buff for free.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice?
I feel like we just saw why Clearlove is so well respected as a jungler. Not just because of his positioning and his invading. I think he just conditioned Flawless to think that I'm going to contest your Raptors. I'm going to contest your red buff. Stay there for when it spawns so that you can take it right away. And that time, as the red buff was spawning, he was a step ahead. He wasn't looking for the red buff. He was looking bottom. That said, EDG, they're going to follow up on the dragon take they took just a moment ago. But the quick 3-man bottom flash, 3-man knock-up. Clear loves the target. They've caught Flawless on the side as he came in, and he is demolished. Top tier 1 has been taken for first brick, and Teleport gets Mouse to his team. Doinby not going to follow quite yet.
He does have the teleport, though, so the Galio can be here if he finds it necessary. And in fact, he's already teleporting in. Scout needs to respect.
Doinby cancels. Mouse gets caught, and the pillar. He's forced to flash over. Scout still steps up, though. Killua's low. Visions of Empire not going to lock down the kill. But the tier 1 is still up, and Doinby is pushing mid.
Yeah, Doinby cancelled his teleport, knowing that Ray could still teleport and has the Shen ultimate there. There was always a possibility that EDG stay down in the bottom lane like they are right now and look towards a dive. But still, lots of respect shown from EDG to play it slowly. They don't take the aggressive play. They go towards the slow play. That cannon destroyed Ray's health. It's just a one-on-one. That's not a good time.
He's only got the Jorum's Fist.
Oh, no.
Sitting on 120 gold. SMLZ, what are you doing there, bud? Flashes away, the flay. You can see the smile. PYL in the arena. He probably knows what that's like.
He knows what it's like to be the Thresh in that instance as well. Finds the pick. SMLZ just thought they were gone. Thought they'd recalled. He thought it was one more wave to clear, so he presses up and steps too far forwards, trying to get there just before the waves crash. Caitlyn wants to hit that clear line Q.
And nobody's here to defend this turret. Highboy with the Gwinsus is actually shredding through its health. All it takes is that one mistake, and suddenly EDG are looking to be quite a bit more gold. Cleared up, 2,000 gold ahead. Look at that, 34-6 in the LPL.
Historical
and that's not just
record.
this year. That's all time.
He has not played that much Thresh in this split, but he is a very good Thresh player that commands respect as Rogue Warriors are trying to hunt around the middle lane. This used to be one of those picks when Mako gets Thresh, you're like, well, this game is over, but you forget about it. It's been a while.
It certainly has. He's been playing the Braum, playing the Alistar, but still showing that he should absolutely be feared on his signature champion. Of course, joining the team in 2015, the new prodigy, the new captain to fill out the role along with Clearlove. Been with them now for 3 years and absolutely has grown a magnificent amount with his team. And recently, now that he's been paired with iBoy, that duo lane is absolutely to be feared.
The health of this turret is still super high for Rogue Warriors as well. EDG going to have enough time if they wanted to walk down there and try and defend it. But you can see that they've already lane sort. They've already set up the play in advance. They know that this is what Rogue Warriors were going to do. And so instead of coming down here to answer, they send iBoy to the top side of the map. They've unlocked Mako as well in his mobility boots Thresh. And whilst this is well in the ballpark of what Rogue Warriors want, they want a Caitlyn composition where the Caitlyn isn't stuck in bottom lane. They don't want to lose an extra turret for their troubles. And you can see them now over-pushing in an attempt to stop it.
Yeah, Mouse has been spotted. He's actually going to charge forward to zone Edward Gaming away. And Ray's actually defending the bottom tier 2. Looks like we could be seeing Rogue Warriors actually trying to take mid instead. Or they just secure vision on the bottom half of the map.
They were looking for a pick to try and perhaps enable a mid lane tower push. There's an opportunity for them if Scout were to go down, but it's a bit awkward as a Scion to make that play work. You have to reveal yourself to get a straight line access to the Swain, who was able to just walk himself back to safety regardless. So EDG comprehensively win in terms of trades here. They get the turret down in bottom lane. They rotate to top lane incredibly quick. Whilst Rogue Warriors made the necessary trades, they don't get that cheeky little play afterwards that might have tipped it back to at least even.
And that's where Edward Gaming are showing their knowledge and experience. Clearlove, one of the oldest players in the LPL in terms of that experience, along with Mako's excellent shot calling. See the play coming from a mile away. This is the expertise that we expect from the roster of these two. They're actually setting up a bait with iBoy right now. 3 members trying to pull someone in. Actually seeing no one to defend. They're just going to use the Rift Herald in that mid lane to try and break down the final outer turret. It's already chunked low. If Herald gets a full charge, this turret is done for.
Yeah, they catch them recalling. Once again, they're able to step forwards.
That's the hook. Killua goes in. SMLZ is caught by Scout from behind. This is not a place he wants to be. Hero's entrance is going to knock up too, but still Scout just chases him down. What burst. Finally, Doinby gets in there. iBoy still firing across, emboldened by Ray as Edward Gaming, just with pristine target selection, piece by piece, separate Rogue Warriors into kills.
Yep, definitely was kills. They're pushing forwards now. They've got 3 members dead of Rogue Warriors. The inhibitor, maybe what they have their eyes set on, but it is super early into the game. So It might just be a turret and a recall, but they have got enough time here. We'll see how aggressively EDG choose to play this one out. I think that is the smart decision to back away and recall. Reset as they find an opportunity. They find a pick. Mako's Thresh is actually the one that kicks this off. Once again, with the Varus ultimate, they lock down Kahlua, and Scout comes in. The hero finds the flank, and he doesn't use the E once. He just waits to the latest possible moment, has the ultimate ready, and knows his damage calculations. And you thought this was good. Doinb is doing the exact same thing on the opposite side. Well, the Shen exists. Yeah. Once again, Shen just uses the ultimate onto iBoy, completely diffuses Doinb's burst.
And just like that, 5,300 gold. Again, pre-20 minutes, EDG have opened up an inhib. They haven't taken it this time, so things are looking a little bit better for Rogue Warriors, but it's still an uphill battle to climb. Visions of Empire spots out that this dragon is being done,
from Rogue Warriors.
EDG are collapsing. Flawless in the pit. Clearlove steps forward. He doesn't win the smite battle, but he might win the fight just afterwards. Killua knocks him and separates him from his team. Flashes the wall as Flawless escapes. Clearlove decides to let them go as Edward Gaming. Oh, God, did he just flash that? He did. They're trying to chase this down. Okay, maybe he didn't decide to let them go.
He's not letting anyone go. He's flashing walls. He's trying to find targets. There's no towers, so there isn't really a safe place, so to speak, for Kahlua. But he's able to sprint away with his boots and mobility regardless. I'm not really sure on the flash from Clearlove, personally.
Look, you should be afraid of Clearlove.
But I admire the commitment.
Oh, yeah.
Just cosplaying Trundle a little bit more, I guess.
Bit of a troll play there. 20 minutes in, blue buff going to be taken now by EDG, and they are starting to run away with this game. We did see the Ocean Dragon pick up by Rogue Warriors, but it's 2 turrets to 5. It's 2.5 items to 1.5 items between SMLZ and iBoy. Scout already 2 full items completed to Doinb's 1.5.
It's not just strong champions either, it's actually the champions of choice. It's a Caitlyn in a power trough, as usually they want to get to the 3 items, maybe 2.5 items, and they get very strong then. iBoy spikes at 2 on the Varus. That's just where Varus spikes, and now he's ahead of the clock in terms of his strength, so he is super powerful. SMLZ is worse than normal on the Caitlyn. That makes things even worse than the gold lead represents being 5,000. You've got a Kha'Zix. He's got a Duskblade. It's a lot of damage, but there's a Shen diffusing that for the most part anyway. He can't really kill Scout. They all just want to kill iBoy, but he is so far ahead that if they make a single misstep, single mistake, or Mako catches them out of position once, they die.
Yeah, and look at that gold difference. It's maybe like 700 in the mid lane between Doinb and Scout, but iBoy is 2,300 gold ahead of SMLZ. A full level up as well, and you already mentioned the protection there to keep him alive. Edward Gaming are playing Rogue Warrior style, and they're playing it better than Rogue Warriors.
Let it be known that when Mako does get ahead on his Thresh, he doesn't really miss those hooks. He's super aligned with his targets right now. He's been finding jukes in the works. Mako down in this bottom lane has been stepping up for EDG. Working with Clearlove right now, the dynamic duo, of course, pressing forwards to place some vision down and control some wards. I wonder where Rogue Warriors will really even step up to the plate now and try and contest the fight, because they are just too weak to really afford to go for any 5v5s, and EDG can just pressure them constantly.
They absolutely are. They have to draw the line somewhere, but where will it be? Seems like the traps set it at the inhibitor. Flawless is behind them. He's spotted out. Mouse is charging in. They're going to try and force this fight. Hero's entrance. Have they got enough to kill iBoy? He's low. He flashes. Finally will die as Killua dives in. SMLZ firing across the back but can't enter because Scout is massive. Killua dies. Doinb already going to run away, but there's nothing that he can do in order to turn this around. Shield of Durant for some damage onto Mako, but Clearlove with the bop scares him away. And SMLZ is the sole survivor. Rusty, this could be game right here.
They just all but ignored SMLZ. They push forwards, they get the inhibitor. I would expect they go back to the Baron. Okay. It's still a little bit too early in the game. The death time is still too short. 22 minutes though, and they can look towards a Baron if they want. They could recall, get some health, and go back to that Baron once again as they please EDG as they walk forwards. Rogue Warriors, they make a play. They look for the desperation moment. They try and go forwards, but they put everything that they have into killing iBoy. Starts with Flawless, ends with Doinb, and they do get him, sure. They do manage to kill him in the end, but through all of this process, Scout's still dealing damage, and SMLZ is not. There's no point even touching the Caitlyn. He's irrelevant right now, and they just kill the rest of the EDG, the Rogue Warriors roster. Super clean from EDG.
Once again, the target selection for EDG in these fights, absolutely huge. The veteran shot caller of Clearlove, showing that he absolutely knows what he's doing. He hasn't been slacking off at all during his time away from the team. And we just saw Flash from Flawless. He's just looking for vision. He's just looking for wards, and he's not going to get them.
And now he has no health or flash. Has to get back to safety. Baron is not something that they can really afford to defend here, Rogue Warriors. You'd say that it's desperate to even look for vision in the pit area at all. They have one blue trinket remaining right now on SMLZ, and that Scrying Orb is the last remaining one for them to hit. Defensive is the best that they can do right now. At EDG, at their whim, of course. They want to hit Baron, they want to get picks. The choice is theirs. Their composition excels at picks with the Thresh and the Varus down there in the bottom lane, even the Swain, and a Trundle Pillar to set it all up in the first place. So that's what you would expect. Sit in the Baron pit or in the river. Try and catch someone out of position, but clear the wards first.
And that's what we see from EDG right now. And guess who it is clearing those wards? It's Mako and Clearlove. The two captains, younger brother and older brother, stepping forward to just clear things out. Bit of a disagreement on who takes that ace in the hole, but still it works out for them. As the pressure is building up once again. Ray split pushing in that bottom lane. Doesn't have a banner of command this time because he doesn't need one. He can handle Mouse down there. With Scout holding the fort in the top lane and the remaining three now turning towards the Baron. Rogue Warriors.
They do hit it.
Are going to have to respond. Let's see what it's going to be. Scout is sitting in Tribush.
I don't
He's
think
found
it could be
Flawless
anything.
again.
I really don't think they have any answer. They're just going to get zoned away. It's going to be completely gone. Kalu is trying to get vision, but that vision doesn't enable them to stop this.
Teleport coming in way too late. It's the fight that they want as the Baron has already been picked up. Once again, iBoy is the target. Stand united. SMLZ gets in. Again, they kill iBoy, but Scout is still at full health. Again, he zones SMLZ away. Clearlove goes low, and now SMLZ can step up and start attacking. Doinby kiting it around the far side. The flash, that's one. He's looking for Kilowatt, that's two. And the rest of the team is grouped up, looking for number three. Mako is low, but Scout is still unstoppable. A triple kill as Ray is going to stall it out. The never move. This is going to be the quadra kill. Recall canceled, and another kill. The ace for Edward Gaming in Game 4.
Scout is just so strong right now. It doesn't matter if you put everything into killing iBoy because they've got a second carry on the team. They've got the capabilities to win team fights even without one of their two damage threats. And now they find themselves 11,000 gold ahead with an Infernal Drake to take on the back end of already securing themselves a Baron.
Yeah, if that last fight was close, then this fight at Baron was even further. That gold gap has grown so much larger. Here's the fight again.
They do kill iBoy a little bit more successfully in this case. They don't have to expend everything into knocking him down, but it's enough. It's too much. And Scout, he's actually healing in the time that SMLZ has been chunking him down. You're seeing crits connect. In fact, I'd say SMLZ got lucky with all of the crits. But it's not going to be any damage whatsoever, and Mako still lined on the target, hits the hook, and enables Scout to step up and follow it with the rest of these kills. Gets 4, and Scumbag Ray, yes, he interrupts the teleport, I'll give him that, but doesn't give the Penta over.
And once again, in the semifinals, Edward Gaming look to continue their dominant win record as they make their way back out with full and fresh items. 27 minutes into the game. They've got Baron for 2 minutes. They've got the chance to try and utilize it. Scout in the bottom lane. Ray, meanwhile, pushing up in that mid lane. iBoy picks himself up red buff, that last thing that he needs before he could close out this entire series.
It doesn't even look like EDG are going to go heavy towards side lane control. They're actually just grouping up as a team down in the bottom side of the map right now. Vision control down there. Even Shen with the Baron buff and Titanic Hydra is not going to split push. He's going to group. Inhibs can be looked at. If they break bottom, I would imagine mid's close to respawning unless they just took it.
Predator from Flawless as that Baron banner minion fires across the inhibitor turret. Flawless is scouted behind them, but he has been spotted immediately. EDG pull back to deal with the issue while still defending that cannon. You just mentioned it, Rusty. The inhib has respawned, but they've lost another inhibitor turret. Doinby is pushing up in the mid lane. He's not level 16, so he doesn't have level 3 of the hero's entrance. One inhibitor broken, and EDG turned to the one that just respawned.
And they had the vision to know where Flawless was, so there wasn't really a capability of Rogue Warriors to defend this, and they're still mapping him out. You saw the hook from Mako. Rogue Warriors, they may just make the play here out of desperation once again. But how many desperate plays in a row until EDG just win and end the game in front of you? With 2 inhibs gone, with only 1 remaining, the only thing EDG needed to do to clean that up was to control their side lanes beforehand. But the Shen groups, they make it efficient where they're looking. They look towards top lane last.
Yeah, Doinby's going for the desperate recall in order to escape. He believes he was spotted out by that Visions of Empire. He's actually still sitting there. Hero's entrance in order to escape. Perhaps some fear being struck into the hearts of Rogue Warriors in this Game 4.
For a
Match
second,
point.
I had no idea what was flying across my screen for a small second there, but it was a Galio ultimate going at max speed. It does use the ultimate to get himself out to safety.
But you said it, Rusty. This is a desperate game from Rogue Warriors. Their entire split is on the line in this final game, and they're up against Edward Gaming. The Mountain, Clearlove, back out onto the Rift and showing that he absolutely is to be respected. Scout putting up a massive performance on this Swain in Game 4. Is there any chance for them to turn it around, or will EDG close out this series?
There is the slimmest of chances. If ever there is a game that you want them to, it'd be this one, but let me tell you how difficult that's going to be.
It's looking rough.
When they are so far ahead, EDG, the gold lead is too high to even say that there is a comeback available. It requires mistakes from EDG, and not just one. It requires 3 odd mistakes in team fights to even give a chance to Rogue Warriors, because right now you just play it slow. Even if you don't get this last inhib, you wait for the supers to crash. You've got Ray now threatening on the bottom side with the Shen as well. He can start to threaten the actual Nexus. And then if that doesn't work, there's still a Baron to take, which will end you the game afterwards. This is nothing short of a miracle required.
Yeah, you can see Doinby being pulled along with Killua and Flawless, nearly all members from Rogue Warriors, to try and defend their base. They know they cannot give up these Nexus turrets. That's the final line in the sand, but Clearlove stepping in on that Trundle to clear out the wards. A big crit has found iBoy. Killua tries to go for the invade, but Clearlove denies SMLZ entry into the fight. Killua will go low and die. Doinby forced to retreat with that Justice Punch. Scout steps up. He's looking to finish the job that his team started. Stand United onto him to catch up, and now it's Mouse that they turn onto, literally healing on the fountain, and Scout still gets the kill. More than enough damage as he chases down the series win. Edward Gaming turn on to the Nexus, and they teach Rogue Warriors a valuable lesson as they finish off these kills in the fountain, pulled away from their sanctuary. Rogue Warriors, form may be temporary, but when facing Edward Gaming, you remember, class is forever.
And the EDG locked themselves a place into the finals against RNG. It's almost fated to be that way. Clearlove also helping to get them there. Rogue Warriors on the day. They're still a young side. They're in their first split and they made the semis, and that's something to be proud of for themselves. But it's EDG's time to shine. Once again, they look way too strong.
Royal never give up, maybe shaking their heads in disbelief. Not again, they're saying. Clearlove returns. Ray, new top laner for EDG. iBoy, the new AD carry, and Edward Gaming look to be in exceptional form as they close out their series here in the semifinals in Hangzhou. Deep handshakes and bow as they return to center stage once again to add another win to their magnificent record.
They just say sorry to Mouse on the way through as they take apart and ruin the revenge tour of Rogue Warriors, preventing them the finals. And I think the scariest thing is there has not been a moment where Clearlove isn't smiling today. And that's not the Clearlove you ever want to play against. That smile could actually win games.
Oh yeah.
For EDG. Now going against RNG in the finals, if he comes in smiling, I'm sure Uzi's going to be very frowny face.
Oh yeah. El Clasico. Once again in the grand finals in Chongqing. Edward Gaming and Royal Never Give Up happening next week. As Edward Gaming staying true to their words, showing that they absolutely should be feared here. iBoy still on stage. Are they going out for a second round of bows?
Why not?
They absolutely are. That's it.
Oh,
Bow number 2. All right, let's get one more. Okay, no, they're actually going back this time. Edward Gaming. They've got a bit of a reason to celebrate after that series because Rogue Warriors, they were the second best team in the entire split until Edward Gaming showed that, yeah, you might have some regular season plays, but where's your playoff game at?
They've also shown the Western Conference still has some fight in the system.
Yeah.
We do have an East versus West finals, which is what you want to see when the conferences clash against one another. And EDG have proven that on the day they are very strong when it counts the most, and Rogue Warriors still have a lot of positives again. They should be leaving with their heads held high. Doesn't feel good to miss out on an opportunity to be in the finals, but it does feel good to make the semis on your first split as a team.
Yeah.
And the band of misfits that they were, trying to make their own version of a super team. They fall short on the day. but they still have a lot of positives to take home.
Absolutely, and they will be playing again in 2 days against Invictus Gaming for that 3rd, 4th place match. And again, there are world circuit points on the line, so their season isn't over just yet.
Yeah, that's the important thing. They're going to be looking towards the summer split. They're looking towards their championship points to make worlds, and 3rd place is very important for them. So finish as high as you can in spring. That's Rogue Warriors' goals. And for EDG, their goal was to win spring. Well, now they can.
Yeah, they certainly can, as they are on track for that. 31 minutes. Edward Gaming close out the series. That said, though, it's time to hear from our analysts and our resident Clearlove fan, Froskurin, how they closed out that series.
Yeah, we'll definitely give her that time right there. But thank you so much, Dom. I don't know if EDG got lost there at the end. It's just like, well, I guess we're in the stage. We might as well bow again. But definitely deserved it, coming out of the 3-1 victory. And I've got to start this one off just talking about you, Raz, because you came out of that prediction. You said over 40% damage percentage. You came with that prediction 3-1 RW. I don't know what to say. I mean, you just nailed it.
I love the fact that the spotlight is directly on me. But honestly, no. It's like, sure, yeah, I got those points right. But ultimately, the true winners of the day was in Edward Gaming.
Oh, nice segue.
Yeah, there we go. Edward Gaming came out.
So humble.
There are a lot of question marks pertaining to what their playoff form was going to be. Sure, we didn't have that tape just because they were going to be playing off the semifinals match. But they came and showed up.
How do they keep doing this? What is, like, here's the thing. People who don't watch the LPL will tune and be like, knew it, EDG versus RNG, because it's every single final. Death Taxes, Edward Gaming versus RNG for the final. This was not this split. Edward Gaming looked all sorts out of place. The first 4 weeks, they were sitting in 4th place. They were constantly roller coastering up and down. Haro looked like a complete liability to the team. Clearlove comes in at the very last second to save the day, comes back again to save this series, but it's like, what happened? Invictus Gaming, super team, massive upset against RNG. RNG returning to form, flying into the finals, their 4th consecutive finals appearance, back to back. And Edward Gaming like, see it in my side, brah.
Look, I'm just going to cut in and say, it doesn't matter what your storyline is. Because when it comes to playoff times, no matter what, if it's WE not in there, it's going to be EDG versus RNG.
But it's just so crazy. This was literally like the craziest outcome this was probably the most unlikely outcome at the start of 2018 that we ever thought was going to be possible. And yet again, people will be like, yeah, knew this was going to happen. No one knew this was going to happen.
But that's the point, because we look at all the other teams you would expect to do well, like WE, crashed and burned towards even the start of the playoff run and just didn't look themselves during regular season. Of course, there are reasons for that, but if you just look at all these teams, I was not predicting an EDG and an RNG final after what we saw in the regular season, even what we saw at the start of this playoff run.
I think the one point when the playoff run started, Edward Gaming, I thought, had the easier run, so I felt like...
absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So on the top side of the bracket, it felt like it was going to happen unless if Rogue Warriors were able to come in and showcase that they were still a top team, because while in the beginning of the split, in the middle portions of the split, Rogue Warriors were smashing. Near the end of the split, in the final weeks, they were faltering, and a lot of the question marks were pertaining to early game vision control. It was actually really poor coming out of Killua and Flawless, and even though they were great players mechanically and understood that they needed to get to that late game portion to save SMLZ, when you face teams that are just strong on the fundamentals like EDG, you falter. And I thought that's what happened here today, was that you go up against a team that time and time again, no matter what members they lose or what members they bring on, if it's Ray, if it's Haro.
Strength of the organization.
Strength of the organization, and of course you still have that shot caller of Mako, they get the job done.
It's an impressive feat, honestly, in itself. The fact that you can have so many new players go into a lineup and then you develop not only over a season, but within a single split. They were able to get this team together and push them all the way to the final, I think, is impressive in itself.
Clearlove has 5 LPL championships. They have something like an 80% win rate that when they get into the final, that they are going to win it. He's now looking at a possible 6th LPL title, and he is the only consistent person on the Edward Gaming roster. Like, this isn't the same roster that just keeps winning. They have subbed out virtually every single piece, including coaching staff, and they keep making this run. When we say strength of the organization, it's nuts to bolts.
And here's the thing, one thing that's remained consistent along with that is since Pon left, Scout has been a performer, and even though there are certain points that we look towards and say, why is this still happening while he's on the team in the regular season, but this series specifically, he showed up
They're
massively.
clutch.
Exactly. He's an incredibly clutch player. And the Swain, he made Swain seem broken. And I mean, like, there are a lot of points where we were saying we don't want to pick Swain in this scenario because he gets pushed in the early game. There are a lot of problems when it comes to that. And he feels like a pub stomp champion just because he is more reactive than, I would say, being the one to take the first step forward. This game along, I thought one of the best things that he's done was understand his soul fragment usage, that every single time the team pressed up on a turret, he had already had 5 soul fragments ready for it. He was really reserved in when he wanted to use it, and when he used it, it counted because SMLZ didn't want to step forward even though he was on Caitlyn with the massive range if you have the even larger range of Swain walking up against you.
Yeah, it was really just a joy to watch. He went full Palpatine in that final fight.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was just fantastic stuff. This guy, as you say, is a clutch player. You know, he turns up when it really counts. I do want to address the elephant in the room, though, heading into the finals here for EDG. We saw as soon as you lose one game, boom, Clearlove comes in. Will he start in the finals?
Yes, just because I think it's also a mental game with RNG. You have to know, like, all I wanted this entire series was just a camera on RNG, just to watch Uzi just start sweating bullets. Like, man, I thought the final boss was Invictus Gaming. They take down the super team of the LPL. Like, unfortunately, didn't have the Shy starting. Still, credit to RNG and the squad. They showed up on the day. Also, ton of clutch players. But the final boss for RNG is always going to be Edward Gaming, and it's always going to be Clearlove.
Yeah, and there is that paranoia. It is true. It remains split to split. But RNG already seemingly achieved the impossible by taking down
I feel that they're the
Invictus
stronger
Gaming.
team.
Exactly. By taking down Invictus Gaming in the fashion in which they've done so, you're right. It feels like they are still the stronger team. And even though they went up against what seemed like, I don't want to say Uzi Light perhaps, going up against SMLZ with the Kaisa pick, and it seemed like they already had the strategy ready for it. At least RNG watching this series knows that Kindred is still available for EDG, and they know that Kaisa might be a much more riskier pick when they went up against IG.
But here's the thing, like, Uzi's Kaisa, yes, it was clean, but SMLZ was not playing poorly this series. Some of the moves that he was making on Kaisa were also incredible. So this isn't like, you know, one Kaisa player with an incredible caliber like Uzi, and then SMLZ, you know, bad Kaisa player. No, SMLZ was also amazing on the champion. Edward Gaming just had it figured out.
Yeah, it might just be a sneak peek of the finals. I don't want to call it right now, but it's something to watch out for, because the prep really does matter now going into Chengdu.
Yeah, really just fantastic mechanics out there. And looking towards this finals, I just want to ask you the question before we move on. Will RNG win the finals? I want the statement right here and now. You can go. You don't need to answer it now if you don't want to. I'm just putting you on the spot.
Oh, me not make a bold statement? Yeah.
Oh no, you've given her the ticket. All right, what is it?
I interviewed Uzi. It's the year of the dog, and I said this at the very beginning of the split. I honestly do believe that Uzi is going to lift the LPL trophy this time. I think that this is the first time he's going to get his title, and I believe that it's not just, you know, because Uzi, like RNG holistically, they are the better team going to this final. Edward Gaming are the underdogs here, but they are the kryptonite. Still underdogs. Superman, kryptonite. Still underdog.
Who do you have it? You think it's RNG?
Yeah, mate. Did I stutter?
Okay, I was just making sure. I didn't hear definitive.
What part of Uzi lifting the trophy was not
You
clear?
put the kryptonite in there. Now, kryptonite is a pretty damn good feature of things, all right?
It's just a rock, Raz.
But I agree. I was actually disappointed that you said RNG, because you're saying I'm going to be bold, but the stronger team is going to win. I'm like, yeah.
The stronger team's RNG. They're going to win.
Yep.
So is consensus here? RNG?
Oh, that
Me
I
doing
stutter?
all the heavy lifting analysis
You went all
of
over
this
the place. I
guy.
understood what Frosk was saying. You just went all over the shop, Raz.
I know you guys are listening. You can even replay that. I said RNG.
Yeah, clip this one. Anyway, let's move on. Let's cross the T's, dot the I's. Scout will take the MVP coming out of this final game here, the 4th game of this series on the Swain.
Yay, Scout! You can play Swain now. He has looked pretty atrocious on this champion over the course of the regular split. This game, he was an absolute monster. As Raz said, he's figured out the champion 9-0-7. Very deserved.
You've been saying red side all night long, so obviously when it comes down to it, you just want to say it one more time.
Red side, red side, red side.
But they're able to take the win on the red side, which is probably why he got it. So he looked phenomenal on this one. It all comes down to the AoE, or at least the zoning tool. Look at SMLZ. He's just playing around the range of Swain ulti because he knows he can't get near it. He's just going to get popped. One person did get popped, it's Kha'Zix, but SMLZ is like, all right, at least it's not me.
And it's not just about Swain as a champion. Yes, a lot of the regions have seen Swain success in them, but it's about Swain for Edward Gaming. They are a 5v5 team, and Swain is perfect for the 5v5s because of the AoE and the zone control that he has. And if any team is going to punish you with terrain control, it's Edward Gaming. That's their MO. That's their specialty.
And one thing that's remained true is Shen being able to amplify Scout's champion picks. In the past, it's been LeBlanc.
It unleashes him because he can't counter him.
He's like, all right, I'm not going to die. I can do what I want to do in these fights.
Sure.
And so I was wondering what the Shen was going to amplify. Swain, pretty scary in doing so. I know we've seen Dwinby pick up the Vladimir alongside it, so of course he can just go Swain, walk out forward. If he ever feels in danger, he doesn't have to with the shield on top of him.
Yeah, and this role is really one of the best tests as well for EDG. If you're looking at their team fights, you're going to critique it. Well, they went up against the other team fighting team right here, and they took down Rogue Warriors. I'm going to move forwards, though, and take a look at the playoff bracket now. Since everything's been played out, moving into the semifinals, we've got our third place ready to go, and the grand final as well in Chengdu.
Surprise, Edward Gaming versus RNG, and I'm glad that you brought up the fact that it was the best 5v5 team that exited from this semifinal, because it was the best 1-3-1 team that exited from the other one. So it feels like stylistically, we are on a crash course. RNG and Edward Gaming are a very different team, but very familiar opponents.
And it just feels like we have storyline on top of storyline because we have defending champions going into the Chengdu once again up against RNG. So that one's thick. Everybody knows that one. But then we have Rogue Warriors versus Invictus Gaming, which were, honestly, it was a chase for first place in the Eastern Conference for quite some time. Invictus Gaming took third place last split when they went up against WE, and they were able to defeat them. I wonder if they were able to do that versus Rogue Warriors again.
Soul-crushing loss for Invictus Gaming. They'll definitely want to be looking for revenge there.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. At the very least, take third place. I mean, we expected a whole lot more from Invictus Gaming. At the very least, make it to the finals because they, as we said, they were the most dominant team since we saw EDG in 2016 out of the regular season. I mean, that's not a small feat to say in the LPL. You've just demolished almost every single team back-to-back on that streak, and it was unfortunate, you know, the way it ended up in the end.
Yeah, and they're going to be going up against Rogue Warriors for third place. And here's the thing about that. You're right. It's heartbreaking to be able to get so far off in regular season to showcase that you're the strongest team. And then when you get to the finish line, you learn the hardest lesson, which is it always matters about performance on the day because there's always playoff time. And so, sure, in the history books, people will look at your regular season statistics and say, well, that's fantastic, but they only remember the results. If you get the gold medal, silver medal, and bronze, and it looks like now they're competing for that bronze medal.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like, I agree. And yes, Jackie Love and Rookie didn't have the best series of their lifetime, but ultimately they still took RNG to 5 games, having those blunders and not having their star player in the top lane.
Yep.
And people can say that the Shy wouldn't have made a difference. It 100% would have made a difference. Would it mean that they have won the match? I can't say so, but we did see the Shy on Invictus Gaming face Royal Never Give Up, and they smashed them in like 20 minutes.
And it just kind of, you ask yourself questions like comparing it to the LCK. What is KT without Smeb? What is the King Zone without Khan?
Sure.
And so these are real questions. And sure, they still had Duke to make them competitive, but you saw real communication
So what's it most
errors.
similar to? Like, if you had to make a comparison,
It's,
that
it's
doesn't seem
SKT
ambiguous.
without Faker.
Right,
That's
that
what it
seems-
is. And
yeah.
people tend to ignore it because you have Rookie there, but ultimately, if in draft phase alone, you always have to ban against the Shy. It happens every single game. And so if the Shy's not there, there's very few top lane bans going out, which means all of your bans get to go against Rookie. And then Rookie is then being camped. He has all of these bans against him. His champion pool is massive, but you know, if he doesn't get to play his signature picks, he can't shine. They went from a triple carry threat team to a dual carry threat team.
Final point, Raz?
Yeah, and I'm just going to say this. It's the truth at the end of the day. They're going to have to shoulder that one going into Summer Split.
It hurts,
It's an unfortunate truth, but now it's going to be pushing them further and now going for Worlds. Worlds matters the most.
Oh, yeah.
And sure, you're not going to be getting the initial point of getting to MSI, but if they can get to Worlds, and that's, or at least first place, then they would have proven a lot of people wrong.
Of course, that's what they're looking for. Back when I was talking to Rookie as well, he was aiming towards Worlds. That's really what he wants to try and get this year and just show how strong ID are, because we saw them in the regular season. We know they're a strong team. Now we just want to see them prove it on the international stage. Reminder, guys, that the third place match will be coming up on Tuesday. It'll be happening at 5 p.m. China time. So make sure to tune in for that one. We will get to see Invictus Gaming once again on Tuesday there on the 24th of April.
And then again, it's incredibly important because as these teams look towards the World Championship, they need the championship points that third place gives you. It's a massive drop-off difference between third and fourth. And with RNG and Edward Gaming constantly going to finals, that means you basically have one last ticket, and not placing third in spring will almost always undo you when it comes to summer.
Yep, and of course, 2 players, Doumbé, rookie, incredibly emotional players, and top of the fact that they do want to prove themselves to their fans, so that's going to be a good send-off for them as well.
Yeah, it matters so much to those players and the teams as well at the end of the day. That's going to do it from us, however. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you in just a couple days from now on Tuesday for our third place match in the LPL playoffs.